Common sense isn't gone. It just needs a comeback. Common Sense Superheroes with David and Greg.
It's been an hour since you've been gone, and that's too long, so come back home. I can't live without you. That's what Greg was singing the other day when I called him, because his lovely wife had just went out on a business trip, I believe. So he was upset. He was crying. He couldn't live without her. But that is Jodeci. I am your host, David, and that is Greg. Gregory, has the wifey made it back yet?
She has not, and since I know she will not listen to this, I can honestly admit I have missed her. I'm ready for her to come home. She'll be home later tonight.
But
And for those who have been concerned, I will officially be supervised again this evening. And to this point, I have not broken anything or damaged anything.
well, that is promising. That's a big step. I mean, it's probably a little freeing, but I I don't know. I couldn't imagine the wife going out of town, but they say absence makes the heart grow fonder, so that's a good thing.
It does, man. It's a challenge at times. Like, she is, not to get overly sappy, but she's my person. She's my best friend, and I kind of like having her around. I
Get
don't
out
like
of
to
it.
admit that too
You know
much, but
what? Gag. You know what? Come on now. This turned into a damn chick podcast. What's going on? Jeez Louise. Listen, a lot has happened, lots going on. The State of the Union took place. We're gonna get into that. The plan is to have like 3 topics. I know last time I tried to add video to it and we ended up looking stupid just sitting there, but that's on me. But this time, no video, so we're gonna have to go out the dome. We're gonna try to cover the State of the Union. What else did I say? We're gonna talk about Tucker and Mike Huckabee's conversation they had, and maybe some celebrity deaths that take place, which seems to be happening. I know there's a lot of celebrities, and I get it, but the whole power of threes seems to be very strong. But the State of the Union, Greg, the other night, Trump got into it. Did you watch any takes? What did you take from it?
I did. I did not stay awake to watch the whole thing live. This day and age, and especially in the current environment, there was no reason to. I mean, let's be real, 98% of the people who were going to have an opinion on the State of the Union address had it before he ever opened his mouth. So, having said that, I think in Donald Trump terms, I think it was one of the best speeches he's done. He stayed under control. I think he did as good a job as possible at trying to utilize that opportunity to point some things out, remind folks of some of the things he's done that people seem to just forget about. Uh, it's kind of a weird thing. He solved the border problem so damn quick that it just went away and everybody stopped talking about it. But I think people forget for 3 or 4 years that was a headline issue day in and day out. And then just because he came in and on day one said, "Hey, problem solved," he should get credit for that, but it's like people just stopped talking about it, so he doesn't get credit. So I think he did a good job last night of utilizing that opportunity to highlight some of the positive things he's done, but knowing that half the crowd wasn't going to listen because they don't care what he's done positive. And then, my biggest takeaway from it all, David, was, man, in the last decade and a half, we have just become an unserious country and nation professionally and politically. You and I have talked about it, or mainly me, like, they are a bunch of theater kids, drama boy, like, they're just putting on a show, and not a damn one of those people in that building is trying to do anything productive.
It seems to be that way, and it's funny you mentioned the fact that, some people had their take on the State of the Union before he even said it, because and I love when they do this, and Charlie Kirk's team used to do a little bit of this, but they would go out to these college campuses and whatnot, and they did that on Tuesday before the State of the Union took place and asked
I
these
saw this.
people what they think. Was it divisive? How was the speech? And they're like, "Oh, it was awful. It was just terrible." I mean, I couldn't even hardly watch it. I'm like, well, you didn't watch it because it did not take place yet. And they make young people look so stupid. And I know they're not, but boy, they do a good job of finding the ones that really do. Because like you said, everybody has a take before it even starts. But having said that, um, I could not stay up for it either, and I thank God I didn't, because he went the longest in the history of the State of the Union. Last year, I
I
guess
think
they
that was a personal goal. I think he
it
wanted to do
was
that.
because he beat Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, I think, had like an hour and 30. back in 2000. And I think Trump last year went like an hour 35, but it wasn't considered a full State of the Union because it was so early in his ministry. It was, I don't know what they call it, but it was not until this year that the official State of the Union, he went like a what do you say, like a buck 45, a buck 48, something like that. So he went long, and Trump has been known
We
to
took the
ramble.
over.
Yeah, he has been known to ramble. He does tend to, go on and on. But I think, like you said, fairly measured in some of the things he said. He went off the cuff a few times, which I absolutely loved. And we've said it before, and it is true. Trump is the world's worst as far as biting the hook, so to speak, when they set a trap for him. But on this night, he did the same thing. He set the trap and set the hook on the Democrats, and they hook, line, and sinker took it. This is the second year in a row that they refused to stand up for common sense things that they should stand up for. And, it always used to be where half the side would stand up, half wouldn't. But usually that was on policy. It was never on, a child with cancer, like last year where he was wanting to be a cop. Everybody stood up for things like that. This situation, we have servicemen that come in and who served missions and whatnot. Everybody usually stands up for stuff like that. This year they decided, and last year a little bit, to be a little divisive and not stand up for the simplest common sense things.
The point is, and I want to take it to, I think, the step that it needs to be taken to. Obviously, to put out a simple thing of, hey, if you believe that the American government is supposed to take care of American people first and foremost, above all else, stand up. And the fact that none of the Democrats, not a single damn one of them, was able to stand up and agree to that. That obviously is a problem. The problem is, and like I said, it's such an unserious theatrical BS performative occurrence that half of our country that supports those people who refuse to stand up and say, yes, the American government should take care of American citizens first. Half our country supports those people and goes, no, I'm glad they're not supporting him because that's a Donald Trump thing. And he's so damn awful that we don't want to even admit the American government should take care of American citizens. Like, that's where we are.
Like you mentioned the other day, if he cures cancer, they'll be upset that he didn't do it sooner. It's wild that we can't agree on certain things. And a few times they did stand up collectively. Shockingly, they actually stood up for the USA hockey team, which I thought for sure because of the controversies going around because of what he said about the women's team, which look, I don't think it was that bad. And you know who's not upset about that? The women's hockey team. I don't hear none of them saying. I hear the media trying to make something out of it. And he invited them. They just couldn't make it. It is what it is.
Worst part with that, and I actually heard a legitimate, I say this, legitimate media professional, as if there is such a thing these days, referring to how unfortunate it was that the young men of the men's gold medal winning hockey team allowed themselves to be used as political puppets by Donald Trump. And I literally almost had an aneurysm, David. I'm sitting there going, these are, 19, 20-year-old kids who have had a lifelong dream to win a gold medal for their country. You've seen the videos. You heard these kids. They love this country. They support America. Who cares who they voted for or what they think politically? This was a brilliant and beautiful moment for them. And I guarantee you, not a single soul on the USA Olympic gold medal winning hockey team, congratulations, boys, not a single one of them was thinking, I bet Donald Trump's just using us for political gain. No, you're invited to the White House. You're invited to the State of the Union. That's like the greatest honor you can get. And even that is turned into something negative because that's just where we are.
It's ridiculous. And like it was no shot on the women. I'm super proud of the women too. But the fact of the matter is the men's sports, unfortunately, as if you want to look at it that way, is more popular and has a bigger following than the women do. But that's no knock on the women, and I think it's just as great. And to be honest, the women dominated way more than the men's team did. They're badass. That's why he joked, "Yeah, I got to invite them," and he gave them credit during the speech, and also gave Canada credit, which I thought was odd. He said they beat a
You
good
fit to get
Canadian
Angel
team.
Reese and Jamel Hill, brother.
Get out of here, Jamel. I can't stand Jamel. I mean, just such fake. So fake. She mentioned that, and I'm like, first off, unless you're the one standing up for no males in women's sports, then you got no right to be upset that he invited the men's team first and at the same time invited the women. Stop telling me you all about women's sports if you're allowing men to come into women's sports. I actually believe women's sports is a big thing, and I love it. And in fact, Sunday Night Baseball has been moved from ESPN to NBC, which is makes me sad. I can almost hear Joe Morgan rolling over in his grave, and they have moved it ESPN to be like women's night, like WNBA, uh, maybe hockey. I don't know, soccer. I don't know what other sports they are for women, but and I could easily be like, "What the heck, man? Sunday Night Baseball." I'm gonna watch plenty of baseball. I think it's great that the women are getting a platform that they can be on, and if you have that option to go turn on and watch Caitlin Clark, and I will watch Caitlin Clark. I mean, I'll be honest, she's about the only one in WNBA I watch, but because she's like the Jordan of her era. But I think that's a beautiful thing. So if you complaining, I better see your ass tuning in Sunday night on ESPN with all these WNBA games, which ain't nobody going to. So stop telling me you care about women's sports if you ain't going to it or supporting it. So, but I don't know how we got on that rant. But my point was that they actually stood up for the USA hockey team, which I thought was great. And they also stood up mostly when Trump mentioned the fact that he didn't want any insider trading with members of Congress and all that. And then, in a genius move, said, "Well, it looks like everybody's standing up. Did Nancy Pelosi stand up?" I mean, and you can almost hear an audible gasp throughout the crowd. That is awesome. I love that.
The man simply it embodies, probably to a greater degree than anybody I've ever seen, just 100% day in, day out, pure I don't give an F about anything. Like and I most people have this false bravado, fake confidence where we walk around and act like nothing bothers us and we're just good with everything. But you think about what this cat has been through in the last decade and a half, voluntarily, might I add, as a billionaire who could have done whatever he wanted every day of his life. He has been shot. He has been like legally arrested. Like they have come after him with everything. And not a single person can look at it and go, hey, maybe he's actually doing this for the right reasons and trying to help us out. But the point is, like, his comments, his ability to command a room, and regardless of who else is in that room, to know that he is the alpha, is something I've never seen.
He's so good, and he's say what you will, it's hilarious when he looks over and is like, "How can you not stand? Look at these people are crazy, crazy." I mean, you always wanted a president that would call him out for the hypocrisy, but he's damn sure doing it. I freaking love it. It's he don't take no shit. And there was some big lady. I say big lady. That's mean for me to say, but she some lady who was, I think a congressman as well. She purposely, I saw on Facebook, purposely sit on the, if you're looking at the president's, the right side over with the Democrats, so there'd at least be one person standing up. And I noticed her, and I was like, "Look at, okay, big girl, get up now." And I ended up following her on Facebook. I should have her name, but that shows that this just lunacy. I mean, and who would have ever thought that we would sit here and say, "You know what? You know who's got about the most sense on the Democratic side?" Do you know what I'm about to say?
Yeah, John Fetterman. It just
John
took a stroke to
Fetterman.
get there.
Who, I mean, where did this come from? I apologize, Mr. Fetterman. I am so sorry because I thought for sure you were going crazy. And it took a stroke for you to come a little bit on our side. But
Well,
damn,
hang on now. But before we go as far as apologizing, and I think this is something we do too often on the right side. We're too quick to forgive and kind of gloss over what happened. They legitimately put a effing vegetable into the U.S. Senate just because they thought they could control him. That dude, throughout the entire process of his campaign and
freezing up
election,
on me,
his
but I'm sure
brain
you're
did
probably
not
still
work.
talking
Like, and I'm
where I can
not
hear
saying
you.
that like ironically, or like it just flat didn't work. And they just thought they could control him, and lo and behold, as his recovery has seemed to make him normal, he's become one of us.
Okay, you're back now. It froze up on me. But I imagine the points you made. I couldn't hear it, but I'm assuming the points you made were the same things that I was going to say, and the fact that he's actually has somewhat common sense, which is hard to believe. He is calling out people on his own party. And listen, I watch Bill Maher every Friday night. As much stuff if he says that I don't like, he says everything is about as fairly as you can get. He'll call out his party much like he does his own. Or like his like ours rather. So I give him credit, but I did not see John Featherman coming as being the guy that I thought, damn it, man, he's making sense. I don't know if the stroke woke up something in his brain, but damn. I mean, it could have been Dr. Oz, so it worked out good. We got Dr. Oz in the administration
No doubt.
because I think he was in the running with it, right?
Yeah, that's who the
Yeah.
competitor was for Fetterman.
Okay. Well, what Fetterman was speaking on is a little bit of the craziness because you remember in who was it? Joe Wilson in 2009, when they were talking about healthcare and Obama said something on the effect of, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. He simply yelled out "You lie."
Which was
And
true, by the way. It was a lie.
It was a lie. It was true. But boy, you would have thought he came out and called him the N-word, the way
It was
that
a
went crazy.
controversy for a full
Oh
month,
my
David, and
gosh.
now it's a veritable circus at the State of the Union, and nobody
The
cares.
View nearly blew up that next day. It was just like the biggest thing since sliced bread. It was such controversy, so crazy, and like you were talking about now, that's nothing compared to what's going on now.
People keep using the whole slippery slope analogy, and I'm guilty of using it myself. And I just start thinking about you look at where we are today, and I go, well, 10 or 15 years ago, I was saying it was a slippery slope we were going down, and I look at how far we've come in the last 10 or 15 years, and go, I don't know that that's a slippery slope anymore. I think we have already fallen off the cliff because,
Full-on
like you said, I mean,
avalanche.
that was one comment of one person. Which, compared to the current situation in the State of the Union, it actually looked very reserved and almost like the way it should go down.
Yeah.
And it was true. What he said was true, and it was 2 words, and he was ushered out. He was censured.
Both
For 30
sides.
days, it was a controversy.
Both sides
And now
came
you
out
got
against it.
people bringing signs saying black people aren't apes. No shit, Al Green. Here's a
Al
razor.
Green, baby.
Hey, look,
Let's stay
PSA,
together.
if you're gonna have a beard, do it the right way. Like, keep it clean, keep it tight.
He got the
God,
kid.
that whatever that wolf man is doing,
He
like,
got a little Kid
geez.
Rock beard and a little splotchy at
Like,
places.
and people
With the
vote for this.
cane.
Like,
He got the cane out there too. I actually I knew it was gonna happen. I just felt it since last year. I was like, here we go. He about to get thrown out. And he did.
well, yes, it's going to happen. It's scripted. It's like wrestling. It's a theatrical
Yes.
performance.
And I don't have the footage because like I said, we had issues having some technical issues with our provider, but what the Democrats put on as their co or comparison State of the Union. Wow. Just go take a look. There's people dressed up like damn ducks or frogs rather.
Theater kids.
Yeah, unbelievably sad. It's just Joy Reid, golly. Uh, I don't know what to say about that. Just unbelievable. And speaking of that, the Al Green, we knew was going to do that. I just had a feeling, which I kind of like. He's like an old sweet old man. You like look at him in all dimension out. But Ilhan Omar and Rashid Tlaib, was it Rashida Tlaib?
Rashida Tlaib, yeah.
Of course, when he came out talking about America and how you should protect that, they're going to yell out as the crowd is chanting USA, USA. You could see Rashida Tlaib yelling KKK. Like that's the comparison they're trying to make. If you're a pro America, you're KKK is what they're trying to come.
You touched on Ilhan, and man, for years I have tried to wrap my brain around almost every Democratic politician, even some of the worst and most despisable ones. You can look at it and go, I kind of can get the argument. I can kind of see what made them electable given where they are. And I get the Somalia connection, but I cannot possibly fathom how any commonsensical American could go into a ballot box and vote for Ilhan Omar. She is the most miserable. She is a cancer in any room she inhabits. Like she is
Never
a person
heard
who
a positive word from her.
no, like you can honestly, I can guarantee you she is the big, like the perfect example of addition by subtraction. Remove her entirely from everything and everything gets better.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't understand the negativity towards our country. And if you're upset with our country, okay, that's fine. Be that way. But you can't say there's not anything positive to say because I don't hear anything coming positive out of her mouth. And the constant, like we said, Joe Wilson just said the one thing, the constant jar. And you saw Mike Johnson get up a few times. He was about to like get her kicked out. But I think he did the best thing he could do is by not doing that. Let her show how ridiculous she is. Let Trump and she thinks she can overspeak Trump. Sorry, that ain't gonna happen. He got a little louder every time she got to talking, but just talking her nonsense
Well,
as
if you've
usual.
ever done any kind of public speaking or been in an environment like that, the one rule you always learn is you never get into a battle with the guy with the microphone.
Oh, you're not gonna talk him. And if I had to say, like we said earlier about, a trap that he set up for the Democrats, you were like, all right, I feel like the speech was good. You did a great job. Now, was it a bit of it passed out some awards. They did a couple awards here and there. And, somebody did say it felt like it was a participation trophy. It was definitely not participation awards, but it did get a little long in the award department. Not that they all were deserving, especially the guy who 100 years old, who, if you read his story, was basically Maverick. Basically, Top Gun was made by this man. And he, for the longest time, didn't want to get any recommendation or commendations or anything. Man, 100 years old, and I thought when they first showed it that he was the guy sitting next to Melania. I was like, "Oh, wow, 100, okay, that's great." No, it was the dude behind him who stood up and looked like he was, like, 81 years old maybe. I mean, not 100. Like, I was like, "Damn, that dude's 100?" Like, that's impressive, but there was a lot of awards given out, and I think, some stories that were sentimental, which again, most of them didn't want to stand up for. But I thought the awards, if I had to criticize a few things, I'd say it was a little long on the awards. We could have done a few of them in the back.
It was, but I mean, like I said, everything is just it's performative. That's all it is. I
It
mean,
always is. Yeah, no.
there's no reason to try to have any sort of substantive analysis because again, whatever he said wasn't going to matter. 98% of people already had their opinion made up. Half of us were going to like it. Now, again, I feel like I'm trying to be objective and saying, knowing who he is and knowing the situation we're in, like I give him as much credit as I possibly can because I mean, let's be real. He does have the ability and occasionally the temperament to go in there and blow shit up and make it worse. He didn't do that. He avoided any landmines. I think he hit the points he needed to hit. Again, we know that the midterms are coming up. We know this is going to be a crucial time, and I think he did everything he could with that particular speech to try to put us in a position to gain some momentum going into November.
Yeah, he did have a little bit of a gaffe when he mentioned about the girl that got stabbed on the bus. He said that the person that did that was an illegal alien, which sadly it was not. It was just a homegrown guy that has mental issues. So that was not. That was a little bit of a gaffe. I don't think it was. You'll hear the other side probably say that he purposely did that, and he did throw out illegal alien quite a bit. But he's trying to put the things towards immigration, and to to be honest, he was probably trying to take away from what the economy's doing right now because it's going better for sure, but it's not where he wants it to be. So he's trying to take it back to the immigration and for the midterms, he's wanting to want you to focus on that more than you are the economy, but especially with the tariffs being overturned. And by the way, what the hell are we gonna do with all that money? We
It's
gotta
none of
pay
it's real,
refunds now?
David. It's I
What the
mean,
hell?
nothing in our economy is real. It's all just moving numbers from one piece of paper to another. None of us will ever have any impact. They'll find $90 billion of fraud somewhere, and nobody will ever see what the
You're like, "Where'd
resolution
it
to it
go?"
was.
I don't know. It just went somewhere. It's
We're all
odd.
just playing along.
If we're gonna go common sense on the tariff situation, when it first was coming down and they were like, "We pay, let's just say 35% tariffs, but we have them pay 5% tariffs." I thought it was common sense. You pay what we pay. If you want me to pay you 35%, then you gotta pay us 35%. I thought it was common sense. I don't know. But then again, I'm not a money guy, nor am I a Middle East guy, but I thought it made common sense to me. So this whole
Well,
issue of
I don't know how deep your historical research goes, but everything in our economy since World War II basically is just become a mechanism for us to support the rest of the world. So,
you're
like
right about
that's why
that.
everything's been geared towards us basically outsourcing everything so everybody else produces all the shit that we buy. We support the rest of the world's economy, basically, other than China and Russia, and the few countries they support. And it's all BS. It's all fake.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, you're gonna have to show me the books. If you're charging us more than we're charging you, and y'all living higher on the hog than we are, because as Jay Z said, you get rich and give back. That's the win-win. You can't give nothing if you ain't got it. And if you look around, we got a lot of struggling folks. And I hate to be that pro-America Marjorie Taylor Greene type, but until we get our shit in order, I ain't trying to go nowhere else. I mean, this whole
I
Iran.
mean,
I mean,
like you said, look at the books. We're $40 trillion in debt. Let's stop giving away money.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what do we can't afford to give you a break. We need a break. Hell, call me Neil Carter. Give me a break, baby. It's an old reference. You don't know that, Greg.
Oh, I get that. I do get
I
that.
forgot we're the same age. I'm so used to
Mama
being around
Nell.
younger people. But yeah, like I said, I always say, like I said, there's a lot of things I'm picking
You
up
do.
that I say way too
Mine
much.
is mine is at the end of the day. My phrase is at the end of the day. I say that all the time.
I need to work on that. When I listen back to it, I'm like, man, why the hell did I keep saying that? I look stupid. But like I said, I used yours that time. At the end of the day, uh, he set a trap for the Democrats, and they fell for it hook, line, and sinker. And I thought to myself, okay, I thought it was a pretty, but not even depending on what polls say, I thought he turned out looking good at the end of that speech. I thought it was a great speech. It made the Democrats look a little bad with their pettiness and all that. So I was like, okay, just calm down and don't say anything for a while.
That was
Well,
my whole goal going into it, and especially with this being a midterm election year, was just I wanted to just get through the 2 hours without giving them anything explosive that they could use against us, and he
Greg.
did.
Well, Greg, I don't know if you've noticed, taking a look at old Truth Social. This is not
Lord.
horrible, but it's not your best move, bro. Come on, Donald. This is a truth, I guess they call it. Ilhan Omar's country of Somalia is plagued by a lack of central government control, persistent poverty, hunger, resurgent terrorism, piracy, decades of civil war. He's not wrong.
No lies told.
70% of the population lives in extreme poverty and widespread food insecurity. Somalia is consistently ranked among the world's most corrupt countries, including bribery, embezzlement, and a dysfunctional government. All of this, and Ilhan Omar tells us how to run our America. P.S. Wasn't she the one that married her brother in order to gain citizenship? What scum we have in our country, telling us what to do and how to do it. Thank you for attention to this matter. Make America great again. This ain't the one I was even want to show. She did another one where he was talking about how Talib and Ilhan Omar need to go back to their country. And that is where you lost me. I'm like, you can't say that, bro.
No, I mean, but we're all thinking it.
No, you're not wrong. I thought for
I
sure
mean,
that was it.
well, I'm
Go
just
ahead.
proud that like you've confirmed for the audience you can read, sort of.
Well, it was a little harder than I thought. I'm trying to find the one that I
Yeah, I
talk
was
while
really
I
I
try to
didn't. I'm
find
surprised you
this.
put yourself on the spot like that.
Listen, I try. Why can't I find this?
You strike me as one of those kids that was always trying to count
Oh,
ahead in third grade to figure out what paragraph you were going to have to read so you could get ahead of
I
it.
would practice it. Shockingly, in class, I was always a great reader. Now, when I go back and listen to myself read on when you can hear it, it's not so good. All right, this is what the one I was thinking of. All right. When you watch low IQ Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib as they screamed uncontrollably last night at the very elegant State of the Union, such an important and beautiful event, they had the bulging, bloodshot eyes of crazy people, lunatics, mentally deranged, and sick, who frankly looked like they should have been institutionalized. When people can behave like that and knowing they are crooked and corrupt politicians, so bad for our country. We should send them back where they came from. That's the part I don't like. As fast as possible. They can only damage the United States of America. They can do nothing to help it. They should actually get on a boat with Trump deranged Robert De Niro, another sick and demented person with, I believe, an extremely low IQ who has absolutely no idea what he is doing or saying, some of which is seriously criminal. When I watched him break down in tears last night, much like a child would do, I realized that he may even be sicker than crazy Rosie O'Donnell, who is right now in Ireland trying to figure out how to come back into our beautiful country, the United States of America. The only difference between De Niro and Rosie is that she is probably somewhat smarter than him, which isn't saying much. The good news is that America is now bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before. And it's driving them absolutely crazy. President Donald J. Trump. He's not wrong.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of it.
Just don't the go back to your country talk. That you can take them back where they come from. That everybody knows how that's connotation is used, and it's usually not in good terms. So I wish he would have just left that part out.
I mean, you're not wrong, and again, you obviously you come from the standpoint of this. This is the president of the United States. This is the highest office in the land. This is essentially the most powerful person in the world. You would hope that they would conduct themselves in a such a manner as to be a little more respectful, a little more elegant, and things of that nature. But it also you could also make the argument that like, he's not unaware of their hatred for him. I mean, David, they have tried to kill the man on multiple occasions.
Yes.
I think, you know, for so long, we tend to be the side of wanting to maintain decorum, wanting to maintain a certain style and professionalism of this is how we do things. There's a right way and a wrong way to get things done. Well, that was never Donald Trump style. Donald Trump is
No.
the proverbial bull in the china shop. He's a deal maker. He's just gonna get shit done. But I'm telling you right now, I think that's what we need. I don't think another r typical Republican type politician would have ever been able to fix any of this stuff, and I think we'd have just ended up further down the hole.
Well, I mean, I agree with every single thing you said, and I can't really complain because that's what I voted for was the way he talked and the way is no not you never wonder what's he thinking or what's he feel on this matter because he tells you well in very real ways. And like I said before, he is usually a counterpuncher. So it's usually a reaction to what has came at him. I mean, you look at what Robert De Niro has done for him. I mean, it's insane.
Well, and let me point out too, and as time has gone on, I think a lot of us have become more avid and diehard quote unquote Trump supporters. But let's be realistic. A lot of us were just Trump voters because you ran Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris. Like those were the other options at the given times. And I'm sorry, even if I wasn't a Trump supporter, he was the only option on the ballot.
Yeah.
So
I
as
had no
much as
choice.
like I mean, I get a lot of it, and everything's become hyperbolic in the nation that we live in. But let's be real, they weren't exactly throwing qualified stellar candidates up there to give us something else to consider.
No, well, the first primary that Trump ran in, I voted for Marco because I thought, listen, Hispanic guy, and I like Marco Rubio. I was like, he's got a better chance to win. And so that's who I voted for the first time. And I to be honest, if it had came down to it in this last one, I probably would have threw, DeSantis a primary, but he was out before we got to it. So I didn't really have nobody else to vote for in the primary, but, so there was a lot of things I did not like, but like you said, we were given no option, but he says things he goes to a point where you're like, "Okay, stop there," and then he just can't help himself, but you gotta take the good with the bad, and like I said, these counterpunchers, look at what De Niro has said to him, and look what Rosie and all them, and I get it. Well, that's just they're celebrities, they don't matter. Well, okay, well, for years, you've told me Donald Trump is just a celebrity, so which one is it?
I'm just the ultimate of pragmatist, and at the end of the day, there it is again. I am 100% convinced and convicted that my life as I know it is better today because Kamala Harris is not the president right now.
Agreed. Which, by the way, there I go again, dang it. She was in, while you were in Tahoe, or no, Park City, I believe she was in your hometown there, Gregory, at the old Rookery. I
She came
hate
to
you
visit.
missed that. I hate you
Yeah, I
missed
hate I
that.
did too. I could
I know
have been
you
there.
had your book. You had your 107 days or whatever it's called, just ready to go get signed. The average Joe American.
She's gonna run again.
She is. She's gonna claim she has. I hope she picks Tim Walz again. I hope she does run again. Boy, the word salads are just gonna be insane. JD Vance will eviscerate her, but that's neither. We got a few years before we got to worry about that. Well, that's the State of the Union, Bob. Like I said, I enjoyed it. It's long, and you knew it was going to be long. And he purposely hit the ball so far out of the park as far as length that I don't think nobody's going to want to try to touch it. Took me 2 days to watch it. I watched half the first night, and then I woke up and watched the rest. It was what it was. You kind of expect it. It's political fodder for the most part, but I did, on your recommendation, go back and listen to Tucker Carlson and Tucker Carlton. Carlson.
Also,
Yeah. But
yes,
I'm so confused because our friend Tyler is
I
Carlton
know.
and his son is named Tucker Carlton. And I get it confused all the time. Tucker Carlson and Mike Huckabee interview based on your recommendation. So I have a take on it, and I like Tucker. I'll start with that, but I'll let you say what you want to say, and then I'll tell you what I think.
I'll qualify it. I have been a Tucker fan for a while. Tucker is on my daily download podcast. Like he's always in my latest episodes list to choose from. He is
Greg bought all
almost
of
always added.
his caffeine pouches, whatever company it is. Greg was one of the first investors.
He's almost always in my daily queue. But man, here over the last 6 months or so, more and more, I'll get 5 or 10 minutes into a particular show and go, "No, this is another one of those where he is just off the rails." I don't know what happened. Same thing with Candace Owens, man. I used to
Candace
love
Owens.
Candace,
So I need to go
and
listen to
this
her.
crap
She's
with the
back
Charlie
now.
Kirk and Erica stuff is just like I don't even bother trying to listen to Candace anymore. She's gone. She's flown the coop. But I listened to the Tucker and Mike Huckabee, and I've never been a Mike Huckabee fan. But I came away from it a little bit more of a fan of Mike Huckabee, just on the simple way of how he
Okay.
was able to keep his cool, keep his calm, and again, sometimes even as Christians, and I don't care how devout Christian you are and how much you know the Bible, we don't have all the answers. We can't have all the answers. And it was apparent from the jump that Tucker was just out to get him and looking for that gotcha moment. And again, I take nothing away. A lot of what Tucker said was factually true. A lot of the questions you go, hey, it's not technically an invalid question, but the spirit of where it was coming from was so far out of left field that it was in no way genuine or honest questioning. It was just looking for that gotcha. And man, I thought Tucker was better than that. And for Tucker's and as much as Tucker professes his faith, and I love him for it, and then you just go, how do you come after another Christian that way on that platform in that manner? I said there were some valid questions, but the spirit of it and the tone of it was just awful in my opinion. And like I said, I came away more just go, hey, kudos to Mike Huckabee for keeping his calm and taking the high road and just getting through the interview the best he could.
Dude, almost the exact take. And one of the big parts that made me come to that is he was talking about Hamas or somebody pulling up arms as far as like they're training kids as young as 14 years old to go out there and try to shoot up, you know, Israeli soldiers and whatnot. And he's like, and Mike Huckabee mentioned the fact that, yeah, there's young as 14 out there. They sending them out there. And Tucker goes, so what do you do if there's a 14-year-old that's, trying to shoot or whatever? He's like, well, you have to eliminate them. And then that turned into Tucker, the whole damn podcast talking about, well, I'm against killing kids at all. I'm like, that is what you took from it? So what are you supposed to do if a 14-year-old, which is a horrible situation, nobody wants to shoot kids, Tucker, okay? But if there's soldiers in the war and they're trying to kill somebody else or yourself, you have no choice. And he was fixated on that throughout. And any little thing that Huckabee would say, he would nitpick and try to find a way to that gotcha moment. It was constantly gotcha. Just have the conversation. You have valid points, but this whole gotcha conversations was ridiculous. And I agree with you. And I
Well,
don't hate Mike Huckabee. I like Mike Huckabee, and I really liked his daughter. I thought she was good as a press secretary. Just sit up there and just eviscerated folks. But Tucker, man, like you said, you put it perfectly. Him and Candace, I still enjoy him at times, but it's too far gone. It's too far like gotcha, 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 or coming up next, or I don't know.
Yeah, I said it was, you know, and I want to take this as a chance to, we get pigeonholed all the time, and I think the other side tends to look at us and we do the same thing. Like if I know somebody votes left, I immediately think that they want to trans the kids and they're into the like I immediately think they support open borders and all this stuff. Like we all kind of project the worst of each side onto everybody that votes that way, which is completely unfair and inaccurate. So they all think we're terrible people already. Uh, Nothing's ever going to change. Like we're in a bad spot with all that. But for Tucker to preface that as he was kind of trying to bury the hatchet, and they'd had some crosswords on social media, like to fly all the way to Israel to have that, and then make the whole big deal about security. Look, I've been through airport security 3 times in the last few months. It happens. Sometimes you get stopped. Sometimes, like my wife got stopped. They spray. Look, dude, I have a 13-year-old daughter who took a stuffed animal through security to the Salt Lake City airport. Coming home, the Salt Lake City airport pulled her bag aside, sprayed down her stuffed animal, wiped it with a thing to make sure it wasn't explosives. 13-year-old daughter. Okay. Random, like it is what it is. Like it happens.
So you
And
saying
Tucker,
I'll pull a Tucker right here. So you're saying you want kids to bring bombs into Utah? Is that what you're saying?
no, I'm
That's what I
accusing the
don't want.
Salt
That's what
Lake,
I'm saying.
the Salt Lake airport accosted my daughter and they rightfully treated her like a terrorist.
If that is going to happen regardless, especially in your situation, especially in TSA, that's how it works. But if I was to sit here and talk shit about, let's just say Delaware, over and over about how Delaware is ruining the country, Delaware is wanting to kill everybody on this and that or whatever, and then I go to the airport in Delaware and people know that I'm saying that, I'm assuming they're going to talk to me a little bit. So if I'm constantly saying Benjamin Netanyahu is the devil, according to Tucker, and he's trying to ruin the world or run the world, don't be surprised when they talk to you for a minute there, Tuck. I mean, I don't know how. And listen, I don't want to go too far gone in the fact that, there were times where Alex Jones was talking about that Grove place and we laughed at him. He talked about a bunch of pedophile rings and we laughed at him. And so when they talk about Netanyahu and all that, trying to run the world and controlling all these things and killing this and that, I don't want to come out and say 100% that's not the case, because Lord knows I've been proven that anything is possible. But I don't know where we got to this, to where everything is ran by Jewish people, that where we can't do anything. Like, you want me to think that the Jewish people got to Erica Kirk to kill her husband? I just find it hard to believe.
Oh, and you try to like, what would be the motive for any of this
Exactly.
stuff?
I don't get it.
The point I was trying to make is, and I think at least it gives some credit to normal guys like you and I. Like when you talk about Candace Owens for the last 12 to 18 months, you talk about Tucker now. At least we're still showing some ability to evolve and listen to things and think for ourselves and go, hey, that doesn't make sense. That just doesn't line up with what I already believe at my core. I'm not just gonna blindly continue to follow somebody because I've listened to them for the last 2 years and agreed with them. If somebody starts talking crazy, and I mean, hey, shout out to the those of you on the left. It's okay to just stay where you are in what you believe. You don't have to shift just because your people go batshit crazy. It's okay to say, "Hey, I lean Democratic socially. Boys and girls are different, and that's okay." Like we gotta have that dichotomy, but our side tends to, again, we tend to be able to stay in our lane and go, hey, we believe what we believe, and then we just pick the best candidate available. But their side just tends to go all in on everything, no matter how extreme it is.
I will say I can get down a Candace Owens wormhole at times. I will fall down that trap more than I should. Now, I won't believe all of it, and I do get a little upset when she's like, "Okay, coming up next episode, breaking news. You just wait till you hear this." And then I listen to the next episode, and it was like Nothing. I was like, and I've seen the videos over and over, and I'm like, I still don't see where it's other than what it is. That guy's shooting them from that far back, but I don't know.
Well, I got enough dirt in my background to know I ain't gonna say nothing bad about Candace because I don't want her coming after me because
Hell,
she is
God, no.
relentless, dude.
Good
She is
God.
like a dog with
You
a
gotta
bone if she
give
does.
her. You gotta give her props of that big time.
She
Like,
is relentless.
I mean, she has sources somehow.
Candace, I
and
still love you. I just don't listen anymore.
She don't care, boy. She has, man. She goes after Ben Shapiro. She goes after everybody. I hate that the whole. It's not as much on the left as it is the right. We got so many sections of the right that seem to be going against each other. And if you want to call Tucker and Candace Owens, part of the right, which I think they lean that way politically, but man, there's just so much fracture here and there. And I wish we were more together in all this, but
Well, and it's hard to see it getting better. That's the scariest part.
I know. Speaking of not getting any better, unfortunately for a few, they're not getting any better because we've had a few celebrity deaths since we've last came around, and one of them is the great Reverend Jesse Jackson. You got to give it to old Jesse, who made it. What was he 80 something? He was up there.
Jesse never found a camera he didn't like, man.
He didn't, boy.
If there was an event and he could get in front of it, he was gonna be there.
And you gotta, and listen, his little protege, Reverend Al Sharpton, wants to be just like him. Jesse, I'll say this. There I go again saying that. But I believe he ran for president twice in like
He did.
84 and 88 and became in second in 88 behind Michael Dukakis. A black man in the 80s getting that far up in the political landscape, you got to give him props. I mean, that is unbelievable. That's unreal.
Yeah, whether you agree or disagree with his stances and his beliefs, he was a sharp cat. Now, don't undersell Jesse. Now he gets mocked a lot,
100%.
and in his later days, he became a little cartoonish and easier to make fun of. But back in the day, Jesse Jackson was a legitimate political and spiritual force, and
A
he had a
powerhouse.
following.
Yes.
He had a legit following back in the 80s. Now,
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he doesn't know a camera that he don't like, especially when it comes to anybody of color that supposedly wronged. He will find a way to get in there with his Rainbow Coalition. There's some shady stuff, of course, and he famously came out against Obama at one point and had a little hot mic moment where he said he wanted to cut Obama's nuts off. And that was I can see
Michelle
where,
already did that.
yeah, she did. I can see where that's a bit of a
Big Mike's had them in a
controversy.
jar for ages.
You know what? I feel bad for Michelle. I mean, she ain't that bad. At one point, I even said she was a pretty lady. She's not Mike. She looks a little. She don't like Barack. That's plain and simple.
She is the
Based on the
second most
podcast.
miserable American behind Ilhan Omar. Michelle
Based-
Obama has had
Nothing's
the
good
most
enough.
blessed and privileged life of anybody, and all she can focus on is it's not fair that Barack gets all the attention. He was the damn president of the United States for 8 years.
No, she does not like Barack Obama. I'm sorry.
No.
This whole love story, she does not. Every time she goes on a podcast, she talks shit about him, and it's much like Jackie
I
O.
have come to the conclusion that I now have to give my lousiest husband of the year award to Barack because I'm only number 2. Because he does everything
Golly,
wrong.
boy. My gosh, the man became president, the first African-American president, and from all accounts is, say what you will politically, seemed like a pretty damn cool dude. I like old Barack, but boy, Michelle is not a fan. But Jesse Jackson's passed away. Eric Dane, who played on Grey's Anatomy and a few other shows, also passed away. And Robert Duvall, golly, boy.
We you know my social and my cultural limitations. So my wife comes to me on the Eric Day news. She goes, "McSteamy passed away," and that was the point which I had to inform my hot young wife. I've never seen a single moment or episode of Grey's Anatomy. Didn't know who the hell McSteamy was.
Brooke and I did watch Grey's Anatomy for a lot of years. It finally did cross over to where it was just too much, too woke, if you want to call it that, too politically biased that it was just impossible to watch. But we did watch when McSteamy was on there, and he was talking about it in one of his interviews that he was just high as a kite the whole time he did that. He was apparently a druggie and all that, but ended up passing away from ALS way too young. But I bring up the celebrity deaths to bring up the fact that it happened with James Van Der Beek too. and Eric Dane, GoFundMe's set up by celebrities after they pass for their kids. I feel bad saying it, but I'm a little mixed on it.
Mixed at all. I mean, it's a terrible reflection on how comfortable our society has gotten just putting your hand out and saying, "Hey, will you give
Yes.
me something for free?" Uh, I mean, let's be real. We've talked about the whole reason why all of us that are bothered by the immigration thing is because we know they're coming here to take free shit. Like we're paying for them to be here. It's not so much that we mind them being here. We just know that they're throwing everything that our system needs to function properly out of whack, and we can't deal with it. I mean, I see it all the time. Like, I mean, every time you open Facebook, somebody's asking you to donate for something, and look, I mean, I remember back in the day riding my bike through the neighborhood trying to sell wrapping paper to raise money for the school. So I guess it's just evolving.
Yeah.
But man, yes, you see people all the time who you go, man, these people have resources. These people should not be asking for help and putting their hand out. And I don't know if maybe maybe it's generational, but it's like there's no sense of pride anymore. Like if I'm asking you for help, I have damn near exhausted everything I know how to do to try to solve the problem first. And I don't feel like that's normal anymore.
This may be a bad time to talk about the fact that if you want to help out BEAU baseball team, feel free to click the link and donate to my son's baseball team. No, just kidding. My problem with it is before you donate to somebody who is a celebrity that's living in a multi-million-dollar house, how about your neighbor down the street that's house burned down or kids going through cancer or something like that? If you're going to give money to a celebrity I mean, everybody goes through hard times. I understand it. But my gosh, there's people every day, common folk that need the help that doesn't seem to have a GoFundMe because pride gets in the way, or either the people won't donate to. So that's my issue. I mean, like I said, here we go again. Austin, James Vanderbeek had 6 kids, and I guess the medical bills will pile up, and he's had money issues throughout the years. And Eric Dane, but his wife, I believe, or ex-wife is still an actress and could probably go do anything to make money. I think they're okay, but I just don't want to see somebody try to give their hard-earned money to a celebrity who's doing okay when it could be somebody who really is in need of it down the street. That's my take
No,
on it.
I'll take it a step further. And this is it's kind of just a funny little anecdotal story to what we're talking about. I had become so averse to the sense of entitlement and people constantly asking for help. And Lord knows I've been blessed, and I have actually tried to on multiple occasions, especially when I'm in the presence of my daughters, to whenever I can, I donate to whatever little things on the counter, give a buck, round up all the things, and I always tell my girls that he's blessed us so we can bless others. Like that's my mentality. But man, it gets old with people asking for it all the time. But the story is, I was actually at the local grocery store here. It was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago now,
The
and I
Publix.
saw we have a local homeless man in Forsyth, and I saw the guy, and he was probably 50 yards away from me. And I like completely out of the way. Like I was trying to go into the grocery store. He was on the other side of the parking lot. And I looked at my truck and I grabbed $10. And I went and chased this guy down to give him that $10 because in that moment it dawned on me, I've seen that guy 15 times and he has never once come to me and asked for money. And he's
Oh,
clearly homeless. He
yeah.
clearly needs it. And the
Yeah.
fact that he never once put me in the position to have to say no or to be on the spot, I saw him. And in that moment, I go, you know what? I think I got a little cash on me. And I literally almost chased the guy down. And I said, hey, man, I know this is weird, but do you need any help? You need money? You're hungry? And he goes, I'll take whatever you got. And I gave him $10 just because I was almost trying to reward him for not asking for it.
Yeah. That's awesome. And Publix, I love Publix. I'm a Publix guy.
We're Ingles here in Forsyth, man.
You get when I have to go through it every single time, I go a lot, like more than I should, which is probably why I'm broke. But every single time, would you like to donate to this or donate to that? I'm like, no, listen, I'm gonna be here tomorrow. And I always say, I did last time. I didn't give. I feel bad, but I say it every time. I'm like, oh, I did last time. It gets too much. And when there's an intersection right here, it also always has people with the buckets wanting handouts and all that, which I get it, but it seems like every time, and I just look straight away. I don't look left, I don't look right, or if they look at me, I do the whole, "I don't have no cash," 'cause I most of the time I don't have cash, but it's very off-putting, so I appreciate that guy who never came to you, and I appreciate you that's what we should go with. And by the way, homeless people, get a Venmo. We could maybe do something with that. 'cause we don't have cash.
That's a subject I do think we should talk about, the lack of cash and how few people carry cash. Myself and that you like you just said, I rarely have cash on me. That has become a thing, like, for taxis and Ubers and, almost everybody now has ways where you can pay on your phone, everything's electronic, but there's still times where you wanna give somebody a $5 bill, like, the worst is me is checking in and out of hotels trying to tip the guys helping with the
Yeah.
luggage because I never have cash on me, and then you go, "But man, it's such a pain in the butt to go, 'Hey, man, you got Cash App or Venmo? I'll send you some money,'
No,
all
you
for,
feel
a
stupid.
$5 transaction."
Because really,
And
I
I
want to
wonder
just
what the real impact on those industries is.
yeah, because I also don't wanna talk too long. I just wanna
No.
give you my money and go. I don't wanna sit there and be like, "Is this a 4?" What is it like, I don't want that. I wanna get so Dave Ramsey said cash is king, big dog, and he might be right. I don't know, but that's it for today. We'll be back hopefully soon if we can get this, situation figured out with the podcast host or whatnot, but, I appreciate all the love and all the feedback that you've given us, and I do have a special shout out to Bridger Phelps, member of our baseball team. They had a kid today. Michael and Lindsay had a kid yesterday, as a matter of fact. I brought in a third child, and boy, I remember when I had a third one, I was like, "What in the F have we done?" But now I can't imagine it. It was like God knew what he was doing. So, Bridger Phelps, welcome to the baseball team, my man. I can't wait for you to grow up and beat all of us. Greg, you got any special shout outs maybe to the wifey to head on back home?
She is, hopefully she was wrapping up down in Tallahassee today and,
Oh,
coming back home to me,
Tallahassee.
so I got a clean house, clean sheets, and I'm ready for her to get here, and, other than that, y'all do what you do, share this episode, like it, comment, do whatever, and, get on social media, interact with us, let us know what you wanna talk about, and on the big picture stuff, say your prayers, get in your Bibles, and God bless you.
I got one quick story before we go, since you mentioned Tallahassee. We were down at Alligator Point on vacation. My youngest son Sutton got a hook stuck in his ear, so we ended up having to go to the hospital. There's nowhere in Alligator Point, so you had to go drive to Tallahassee, which is like an hour away. We go to the hospital. They, do their thing. They cut it out, everything. They send us to go get medication afterwards. So we're in Tallahassee, as I call it, because boy, there's parts of Tallahassee that are rough. And we went to a CVS, I think. And as I'm getting out to get this medicine, my wife and my youngest son in the car, I noticed two guys smoking crack or meth or something, literally two cars down. And I'll go back and lock the car. You can't make it out of CVS without shooting up or something. Like, come on, bro. So I always, when I say think Tallahassee, other than Dion, I think of Tallahassee. But
It's like everywhere. There's good parts and bad parts. I've spent some time in Tallahassee, a lot of time actually, and I enjoy parts of that town. But yeah, there's some areas and they ain't far off the good parts to get into some of the bad parts where
was it
even as a
always the
grown man, you
capital?
go, I need to get out of here.
It's always the cap. I was like, damn it, DeSantis, don't you live here? But that's
In
it for
fact,
today. Appreciate it, guys. Like Greg said, pray, read your Bible, all that good stuff. We appreciate you listening. And until next time, peace.